All right, so today the focus of our discussion is going to, which is actually more of a lecture, but the focus of our discussion is going to be better writing for the social sciences. Now, one way for you to think about this is that this is Dr. Taylor who is going to grade your papers, your writing, telling you what's important to him in your writing. Okay, so that's probably a very valuable thing. You wish that every time you were going to be evaluated on something, people said, this is exactly what I want you to do to succeed in this evaluation. It doesn't always happen. But I want you to think about it more broadly as well. Okay, because honestly, the principles that I'm going to go over today are just good for academic writing in general, especially for writing in the social sciences. Communication, psychology, sociology, history, anthropology, archaeology, lots of other good ologies. But even beyond that, it's just most of this is just good principles of writing. Okay, and you are going to write every day of your professional life, full stop. Okay, that's just the world we live in. When I was a kid, we say, "Oh, but I'm not gonna write all the time. I'm gonna have a job where I don't do a lot of writing." And now we communicate mostly by reading and writing. We never saw that. I didn't see that coming when I was 16. I thought, no, there were writing jobs, and then there's cool jobs, and I will do one of those cool jobs. But honestly, you guys are going to be emailing and texting and writing memos and stuff the rest of your life. So this is good principles for writing. So pay attention. All right. So each of you is going to start your paper with a research question, and really each piece of writing begins with a question, right? Some kind of information is called for. And the most important thing that you need to do with your writing is answer your question. That sounds ridiculous. It's not. I would not have it up here if I did not feel that this was something that at least some of you needed to hear. Okay, so you need to make sure that you answer your question. What this requires above all else from you is focus. Okay, your focus here is on providing an answer to a question. That's the project. Okay, that's what you have to do with this piece of writing. Anything else that you're trying to do with the writing is a distraction. Okay, trying to sound clever is a distraction. Trying to stretch it out because you feel like it's not long enough is a distraction. Okay, anything other than providing an answer, a thorough, clear, wonderful, beautiful answer to your question is a distraction. Leave it out. Okay, focus. Okay, a good thing for you to do periodically as you're writing your paper is to read over what you've written and just ask yourself how much of this is really about answering my question and how much of it is about something else. And then cut out all the something else. This means avoiding irrelevant tangents. Okay, each of these questions is pretty focused. But there's also a lot of stuff that's related to it. Right? So if you're, has anybody decided on a question yet? You chose one of the questions? What'd you choose? What did you decide to?
The attachment styles.
Okay, so the question is, what's the relationship between attachment style and parasocial interaction and parasocial relations, right? That's very focused. Now, when you're doing the research on that, you're going to see some stuff about parasocial relationships and loneliness. There's about 6-8 studies on that, and it's kind of interesting stuff, and you're going to be like, oh, even though that's not so relevant, I'm going to read that anyway, and then you're going to be so excited about it, you're going to think, maybe I should just include a paragraph about loneliness. Don't. Okay? Unless somehow it's relevant to answering your question. It might be. Okay? But just no irrelevant tangents. That starts with your introduction. Okay? Your introduction's purpose is to focus attention on your topic, on your answer, not to head out in left field somewhere. Okay. The most important thing you have to think about when answering your question is that you need to do it from the research. This is not a gut level question, right? I've used the sexually explicit media content. Is that one of them that we have this time? Is that one of the options? Okay, I'll tell you a story then. So I used to use a question. I think it might still be on there. I use a question sometimes where I say, what are the effects of exposure to sexually explicit media content on marital relationships, specifically marital relationships, right? And there's a clear body of research out there, and there's some clear experimental answers. But about every other time I teach this class and use this question, there's one like porn fan, right? That really just is, the science is not acceptable because the science says it's some not very nice consequences. They write about how wonderful it is that you can open up and explore, and it really brings people closer together. And how do they know? Because they really love porn, right? And so that's what they write, and they throw some science in there, but it's bad science because they're not answering the question with the science. They're answering the question from their intuition or their deep-seated passion or their I don't know, however else people know stuff. But all that stuff's irrelevant, right? You need to answer from the research. Okay? You go to the research, you find what people have shown, what they've demonstrated, what they've proven, and you use that to answer your question. Now, obviously, you're gonna explain that stuff. You're gonna make linkages, right? But the focus is going to be the research itself. Okay, that's how you answer the question. Now, what do you do if your specific question has not specifically been answered in the research?